Thomas Frank holds his first press conference as Spurs boss. Could Spurs miss out on key target and two midfielders targeted by the club? Here are your daily Tottenham news headlines. Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name's Craig and here are your daily Tottenham news headlines where I'll be going through all the latest news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube and are not already subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Like, share and comment below. And if you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. And if you have a spare minute, please vote for the channel at the Football Content Awards 2025. All of the details are below. Let's get into it. Thomas Frank held his first Tottenham Hotspur press conference on Friday. In it he stated, "I'm very clear in my principles. I want to see the team be brave, aggressive and attack. Brave is linked to dare is to do. If you are not brave, it is very difficult to achieve anything. Being aggressive is very important and of course we need to attack. I'm super excited. There is a fantastic training ground and stadium. The facilities are top. The squad is really exciting. A good mix between experience and talent. My biggest task is to maximise the potential of the players. That gives you a better chance of competing and them achieving success. I'm very proud to sit in this chair and be part of the next chapters of Tottenham's history. The ambition is to take this club to new heights. The Europa League triumph was extremely positive. That the team won the trophy they deserved and needed. I want to add to that. The first aim is to compete in all tournaments and do that consistently. That has to be the ambition. That is a very high demand, but if you do, then there is a chance to succeed." And when asked about taking the Spurs job, he said, "I like to challenge myself. I've been that privileged that I've never been sacked before. That's one of the reasons why I took the job. Get a little bit more risk in my daily life. Come into a big club. There's pressure. We need to perform. I like ambitions. Everything I do, every decision I've made so far is for the long term. It's not about surviving one game or 1 year or 18 months or what is the average. No, it's for the long term. Leaving Brentford was very difficult because I'm a person that goes all in when I'm in. Work, friendship, marriage, whatever it is. When you go all in, you get attached. I had a fantastic time at Brentford, fantastic people, but I also felt that maybe it was time to challenge myself and get another opportunity. When a club of Tottenham's magnitude are knocking at your door, I couldn't turn it down." And when asked about Christian Romero, Frank said, "He's definitely here and very committed. I know he's looking forward to the new season." Thomas Frank on Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy stating that he wants Spurs to win the Premier League and the Champions League. He said, "I share his ambition for the club. A club of this size should have that ambition. How far away we are is probably very difficult to say, but we should throw it forward and go for it. No doubt that needs to be the aim for the future. What are the odds for us winning the Premier League this season? I'm not allowed to gamble either, so I think we're probably not the favourites. Probably 3 teams at least ahead of us, but we will do what we can to build a strong and competitive team." And Thomas Frank was asked about Heung-min Son and should Son be able to decide his own future. And he said, "It's always tricky situations like that. If that happens right now, I have a player that is fully committed and training well and will play tomorrow. If a player has been at the club a long time, then there will always be a decision for the club to take. And of course, the head coach and the guys who are in charge, and in this case will be Daniel and Yoane, because there is something in it. If someone wants to leave at a certain stage, then they can be something there, but the club will always decide in the end, of course." And the full press conference for Thomas Frank can, of course, be watched on the channel. The Mirror report that Newcastle and Tottenham may have to abandon any plans to sign Yoane Wissa this summer, now that Brentford and Manchester United have finally agreed terms for the transfer of Bryan Mbeumo. But with Mbeumo now on his way to Old Trafford in a deal which could reach £71 million with add-ons, the chances of Wissa moving this summer would appear to be slim. Wissa chalked up 20 goals in all competitions last season for Brentford, alongside Mbeumo, to put the likes of Newcastle and Spurs on alert. But it's understood that Brentford will not entertain the idea of selling both their top attackers in the same transfer window, meaning Wissa is now highly likely to stay put. That will come as a big blow to Spurs, who had been keen to reunite Wissa with new manager Thomas Frank. TBR Football can exclusively confirm the latest developments around Aston Villa midfielder Jacob Ramsey amid interest from the likes of Tottenham and Newcastle United. Tottenham and Newcastle are both looking to strengthen their ranks ahead of a season in which they'll hope to impress in the Premier League and Champions League. And Ramsey has 2 years left on his current deal, and talks have not intensified to the point where a new deal is anywhere close with Villa. We understand that long-term admirers Newcastle and Tottenham both remain hugely keen on Ramsey, as they see him as a huge talent. The chance to play in Champions League football is so appealing to Ramsey, who maintains England ambitions. And Team Talk report that Tottenham Hotspur are stepping up efforts to sign midfielder Joao Palhinha from Bayern Munich, encouraged by Bayern's willingness to sell him at a reduced price after an underwhelming season. New Spurs manager Thomas Frank, replacing Ange Postecoglou despite winning the Europa League, sees Paulinha as key to solving Spurs' physical midfield issues after a poor 17th place league finish. Paulinha joined Bayern from Fulham for £48 million last summer, but has struggled to make an impact, making just 9 league starts and missing time with injuries. Journalist Christian Falk reports Bayern could now let him go for as little as 25 to 30 million euros and may replace him with Renato Vega. Although Paulinha says he wants to prove himself at Bayern, Spurs have already held talks with the player and are optimistic a deal can be made. Well, here's my thoughts on all those stories today. Obviously, the big one was Thomas Frank's press conference on Friday. You just knew he was going to get asked questions that he couldn't answer, basically. Even the Morgan Gibbs White one, did even put those quotes in the full press conferences on the channel if you want to watch it. But he's going to get asked about Morgan Gibbs White, and what is he going to say? He's quite clear. I remember seeing it at Brentford. He never talks about other teams' players, and essentially that's what Morgan Gibbs White is. So very coy about that, as you'd understand. The good news from that, well, all of it comes out. I mean, he said all the right things, as you'd expect. He's very accomplished and experienced in press conferences. But the good things to come out of that, for me, was certainly Christian Romero and his situation. I think hearing Christian Romero, it sounds like he's going to be staying at Tottenham this season, which is really good. Seemed happy, certainly, in all the pictures I saw yesterday. So that's great if Romero can drive us forward. I just wonder, whether, and leading on from that, he was asked about Heung-min Son, and again, quite coy about Son, really. I just wonder whether, and obviously he has said in the press conference as well, he's not sure about his captain yet. I just wonder whether he's looking to Romero to be captain. And that's just my theory on it. I haven't got any information on that at all inside. So I just wonder whether Romero could be captain. He said that Son and Romero are going to be our captains in the game against Reading on Saturday. So be very interesting to see how that goes. Obviously, delicate conversation to be had, you would think, there with Son. And Wissa as well. Obviously now Mbeumo's gone to Old Trafford, so and we've heard for a few weeks now that they're not going to sell their two kind of best players and goal threats, which is totally understandable. Brentford, they've already lost their manager to Tottenham, so that would kind of tear them apart. But is Wissa going to come to Tottenham? I can not see this happening now. Mbeumo's gone, but you never know. Money talks. Depend how much we offer. You just never know with Spurs. And what I kind of like about Johan Lange, and he does get a bit of stick. And to be fair, I've given him a bit of stick in the past before, but there is something really good about the way he operates, and he works in the shadows almost, very quietly, nothing out in public, and then all of a sudden, bang, you get a notification from Fabrizio Romano or somebody else saying a deal is closed, a deal's done. Like the Morgan Gibbs White one, all right, that didn't quite go according to plan, but you know what I mean. So it kind of harps back to the days of people of a certain age will know what I'm talking about, of teletext and ZFAX, or on the back pages of the newspaper where you just found out. I remember Jurgen Klinsmann, he was standing there on a yacht, standing next to Alan Sugar holding up a Spurs shirt, and that was like, wow, you know. So there is part of me that like that, but then you know, I'm hungry for information, so there's two different sides of it really. But yeah, Wissa, interesting one, that one. Will that happen? Not sure Brentford are going to let him go. Jacob Ramsey, a really good player for Aston Villa. Not sure about this at all. I personally think the other target I spoke about, Paulinha, if we're going to go in, I think Paulinha, Premier League experience, obviously both of them, but for me, Paulinha, I really liked him when he was at Fulham. Fantastic player. So out of those two, I would personally prefer Paulinha, but Ramsey is a very, very good talent as well. So don't get me wrong, I wouldn't turn either of them down. That's just my personal choice. But get down in the comments, let me know how you're feeling right now as a Spurs fan, and what did you think of Thomas Frank's first press conference? Were you impressed with the way he spoke, or was it just kind of what you was expecting? And give me some score predictions for the Reading v Tottenham friendly this afternoon. And that's all from me today. Get down in the comments, as I say, let me know how you're feeling and what your thoughts are on anything Spurs related. Come on, you Spurs.